Hi. Hi. Sorry. So I'm working on a more formal, more organized video on kind of a more serious topic. So I thought I'd make one for this while I'm at it. Also, I don't think anyone reads the text updates, or maybe like 3 people. I mean, I know I probably wouldn't, so maybe this will reach more people. Anyway, I've been thinking about this for a while, and this is just to do with the series Ask the Famous 8 and how I'm going to handle it moving forward. I'm very proud of being able to post weekly for nearly 6 months. If you wipe my memory of this year and told me that I posted almost every week, like fully finished rendered drawings, usually multiple, every week for about 6 months, I probably wouldn't believe you. So I'm still pretty impressed with myself about that. I did my best not to sacrifice quality for quantity, but sometimes that's a little out of my control. Like, not all asks I get are particularly interesting or exciting. So if I'm responding to an ask every single week, inevitably I run out of interesting ones and I stop enjoying it. And I feel like it becomes less enjoyable for the audience as well. Like, I think there have definitely been some filler episodes, as it were. Another thing is that I get really bad paranoia sometimes, and, anxiety having to do with being in this fandom. And, like intrusive thoughts like, oh, I'm old news, people are tired of me. And ironically, when I'm in that mindset, the best thing for me to do is to just take a step back. And I'd like to be able to do that without worrying about not meeting this quota I've set for myself. So I'd basically like it to go to how it was when I first started this blog, which was something of my happy place. So when I did start the blog, like very beginning, I was going through a really rough time, and I don't really want to get into that, but sometimes like I'd be out and about, or I'd be like in a crowded store or something, or even just like in class, because I was still in high school at the time. And, I'd be thinking like, there's definitely some men or guys here that have committed sexual assault, just based on like numbers and statistics alone. And I wouldn't know about it. Like, I could be sitting next to a predator. Whereas in Ask the Famous 8, in this series, you could be in a room with literally every single character. And I'm including characters like Samson, Spence, or even Ace, characters who I don't really like, or I like writing as villains. It's like you could be in a room with every single one of them, and you wouldn't have to worry about someone secretly being a predator or having sexually assaulted someone in the past, because they're all good people. It's like you're safe with them. Nowadays, I don't really need that kind of safe place. I'm doing a lot better, and I just don't need to rely on that sort of thing as much. Another thing is, I think I got a bit caught up in whether or not this was a real series, namely in my mind what I compare it to is other series like on Twitter where people post like this like CG trains videos and they have these series and everything. And it's like, oh, is mine real? It's like, what is it? But I think at this point, it's safe to say it is a series. It may not have the most traditional format, but I think it's a series. I think this blog's at its best when I'm not trying to meet some sort of quota, but I'm just kind of doing what I find fun, like the redrawn scenes, or the 12th gift comic, or the Halloween suite, which I still love and I think is one of the best things to come out of this whole project, even though it's 7 years. I love that. Now, I've gone through a lot of hardship in this fandom, but it's never come from my own following or like my own followers, my own audience for this project, which I really appreciate. Like, the one exception might be that ask I got last month, but I read that as a joke and I took it as a joke. I found it funny, so I'm not really counting it. The pressure I feel for this project to make good content and good art and, entertain has always been from myself. That's not to say there isn't a lot. I have been told I put a lot of pressure on myself, but it's never come from you guys, and I really, really appreciate that. Speaking of all the stuff I have had to go through in this fandom, though, it's caused something of a negative association with anything Thomas sometimes, where I get anxious thinking about it or drawing stuff about it. Like thinking about drawing stuff about it. Yeah, it's not always, but when I do, I get, you know, these pretty awful knots in my belly, and I can spend the whole day putting it off, even though I want to do it. Like, I am enthusiastic about it, but it makes me anxious. And it's not necessarily that I like fear drawing this stuff, but I start thinking of the possible backlash for drawing gay trains, which at the end of the day is pretty innocuous, but my God, will it piss some people off. So anyway, what's gonna happen is nothing really incredible. I'm just gonna be posting a bit less, but what I do post will be stuff like I really enjoy, and it's gonna be more varied. Asks will still be posted and responded to as well, just not as often because I'm not gonna force it. I'm not going on hiatus or anything, it's just not gonna be regular schedule anymore. Yeah, that's the update and why it's happening. You guys have been amazingly patient and understanding with me for the last 7 years? That's kind of scary to think about. So I hope that will continue with this change as well. Thank you very much to those of you who've been around for years now, and to anyone new. And if this is your very first video of me, or your first impression of me, I am so sorry. By the way, there is some free space on my fan art wall. So if anyone's feeling creative, you could get a chance to be on my wall. These two are by Benji on Twitter. I don't remember his @ but I'll put it on screen. This is from my friend Mavis, kind of hard to see. And this is from Silly Old Gordon on Tumblr. I really like this one. But yeah, there's some empty space, and I'd like to add some more. You know, so I typically only put up completely colored, finished stuff unless it's traditional. Yeah, so anyway. My computer froze up and cut off recording. But anyway, as I was saying, thank you for 7 years and for more than a thousand followers on Tumblr. And yeah, honestly, all the support and fan art you guys have given me is just amazing, really. And of course, a very special shout out to my patrons, Sam, Charlotte, Milan, and Fire Cooking. So yeah, thanks. I'd like to make more videos in the future. Hopefully they will do. Okay, I'm done now.